All right, hello you guys. Give me just 1 second. I'm just making sure that I got everyone's attention, so bear with me 1 minute. 1 minute. And if you all have not actually paid attention to the title, today I'm going to make gumbo. So I'll take you through it step by step on how I prepare gumbo. I know it's a lot of opinionated people, and there's going to be a lot of people who actually try to tear me down in regards to how I am making it. But this is my recipe, no one else's. This is how I make it. So give me just a couple of seconds and I'll start and tell you pretty much what my ingredients are. Alright, so guys, today I am going to start. I decided that I wanted to make one of my favorites. So the recipe that I am going to make is going to be gumbo. Just so you all can see, this is a Kroger brand. It's a Ragin' Cajun sausage. It's spicy. I like this brand. It's really, 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 really flavorful. It's hot. I am going to use 2 packs. And I'm actually going to let this cook within this cast iron pan. So just give me a minute. I'm opening it up now. But this is going to be real good. And I'm also going to show you all how I make my roux for gumbo as well. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just chopping up the sausage, and I am going to brown this inside of my cast iron pan. And it's nothing too complicated with cooking the sausage. Pretty much just place your oil in your cast iron pan. Not a lot. We don't necessarily need a lot. We're just going to add this in and let this cook. And I will be actually using, so I'll pretty much go over my recipe or my ingredients with you all. I was able to go to the farmer's market and I purchased some very, very large prawns. So I have about 6 of those. In this recipe, it also calls for shrimp. And I'm using a combination of 2 different types of shrimp. I'm using actual, I want to say medium-sized shrimp. And I am also utilizing some dried shrimp. And this is something new. It's a YouTuber. I actually looked at this recipe based off of, I'm pretty much recreating her recipe. I believe her name is I Heart Recipes. I believe. She's really good. And I have actually followed her for a very, very long time. She's very creative. She also makes a lot of affordable meals as well. So we're just going to allow this to go on ahead and brown. And this is a Kroger brand andouille sausage. Really, 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 really good. So we're just going to let that cook. My meat is not too high. So just let your sausage brown all the way. But let me show you guys, because I'm really excited about this. Let me show you guys exactly what I actually purchased for this. Okay. So as you can see up here, I actually have my blue crab. That's all the way in the far back. I'm going to be using a sweet onion. And you can see the packages of the dried shrimp towards the left. The dried shrimp are really, really good. I Heart Recipes, she actually tried it. I'm telling you, it is delicious. But I am incorporating some other concepts into my gumbo opposed to what she actually has. If you look directly underneath the blue crabs, I have my prawns. And these are about 6 or 7 large prawns. I cleaned them. And then deshelled them, deveined them. I actually have some Italian parsley, some curly parsley, some okras. I have that, and I've already cleaned and cut them. Some tomatoes, some scallions, and I think that that's pretty much it for the recipe. Now, really important with the shells, once you all start taking the shells off of the shrimp, do not throw them away. That is really going to actually intensify your roux. So you want to keep the shells because you're going to boil them. You're going to boil the shells, and pretty much you want all of the liquid to absorb the taste of the actual shrimp. So a lot of people do not eat, I personally don't eat them either, the heads of the shrimp. From the dried shrimp, you want to collect all of those. And also the heads from the shrimp and all of the shells once you peel it, because that's going to actually thicken and create the, the flavor and the texture of your roux. So you just want to boil that down. My sausage looks amazing, as always. And again, as I stated, I'm not cooking these to pretty much provide them with a char. I just would like to cook this through. I want to bring to the attention some of the information that I have actually received back from people watching on Facebook. I've been getting a lot of negative comments, racial slurs, just a lot of derogatory comments. My whole thing is this is not spam, I'm just showing people how to make inexpensive recipes very, very, very cheap and within a budget. And if you don't particularly care for the videos, you do not have to watch it. You don't have to watch it. Nor, and do me and you both a favor, do not leave any negative comments. Sometimes I feel like some people have too much time on their hands. Like, get yourself something to do. Seriously. Moving on. So, once the sausage browns, like this, because as I stated, you just want to give it a little bit of the heat. After the sausage has browned and pretty much it has seared, and I'm going to allow this to cook for about another 3 minutes. It has browned and pretty much it has seared. And I did hear your response asking, is this a one pan? Yes, it is. Well, let's say this. It is going to be a 2-pan dish, honestly. Once I actually cook all of the sausage, and you'll see I'm getting ready to transfer this pot or this pan right over here. So the moment that I am done preparing the sausage, I'm going to pull up my heat pan that's going to pretty much incorporate everything all together. Now, if you do not have a local farmers market, I would highly recommend that you visit one. The one here in Atlanta is Nam De Moon. They have a huge selection of produce. They also have poultry. Everything that you need from an international standpoint in terms of cooking, they have it for the most part there. If you have not already, you can join my Facebook group. It is CastroCooksOut, Castro Cooks Out. I also have a YouTube channel. It is going to be the same name, Castro Cooks Out. Please follow it. And if you have not done so already, please share this video on Facebook. I would appreciate it. My Instagram is going to be Castro Cooks Out as well. Just so you all know. Alright, good deal. Alright, so now I'm getting ready to transfer this pot or this cast iron pan over to my wood cutting board. And this is going to be the pan for the most part, or the pot for the most part, that I am going to be cooking with. So you want to start off with a little bit of oil, because what we are about to create is going to be a roux. So this is going to give your gumbo a little bit of color. Well, let me not say a little bit, a lot of color. And you really want to spread this out throughout. You guys, here is, let me take this off so that you can actually see it. This is going to be my dried shrimp. I will be including this once I actually start preparing. So this is my dried shrimp. And let me just run through my ingredients with you all. I also have some Roma tomatoes. Let me take the lid off so you all can see that I actually chopped up. This will actually boil down into the gumbo, so they will not be so prevalent once they actually cook down. I have fresh okra as well, and I chopped all of this up, so I will be incorporating this also. So it's gonna be a nice dish. I think so anyway. Now the key thing to this that you want to add, I don't think a lot of people know about this. This is crab paste. Very, very good for gumbo. It actually has minced crab meat inside of it, so really delicious. And I also have shrimp paste as well. So shrimp and crab paste, you want to really add that in. So first and foremost, we are going to add our flour to the oil. We're not going to be too generous, but we will add enough. One second. And you want this to cook in, this flour. So I don't know if you all can see it, but this is my flour. And depending on the color that you want, that's going to really make all of the difference. Make sure that you incorporate this and mix it very well. We're going to allow that to brown. I'm just going to add a little bit more because I personally do not care for a watery gumbo. I like mine to have a little bit of a consistency. Just a little bit. right, guys, we're going to allow that to cook. And while that is cooking, I can actually start to chop up some of my fresh herbs, especially since I have time to kill anyway. Now you want to pay attention to this flour. You do not want this flour to actually burn at all. So you want to keep stirring it. Allow it to cook, but your goal is not to have the flour burn so quick. Now, one little tip that I will give you all that I actually did as well, I actually mixed in the sweet onion. This is a Ninja. Well, not Ninja. It is NutriBullet. So what I did was, this is actually going inside of the gumbo once it starts cooking. But this is a sweet red pepper, and this is a sweet onion. You pretty much blend this together, and you'll slowly add it in according to whatever taste it is you're going for. But I think that it'll give it a rich flavor once it actually cooks down. Okra sometimes can be a little too overpowering, so I'll do everything to balance it out. Alright. It's browning, you guys. But I want it to be like a rich, dark brown. So I am intensifying my heat a little bit so that it can cook down a little bit. But you have to keep a steady eye on it because you do not want it to burn. And I want to say, when I prepared this, not prepared this, but when I actually purchased everything for this, it was not too expensive. I can say that it was under $50, but you have to take into consideration that we are cooking with seafood. So I think that was the most expensive. For the blue crabs, I am actually here in Atlanta. Now, I know if you were to go to like South Carolina, or if you were to go, pretty much if you're on the coastline, you can get blue crabs relatively inexpensive. Whereas I actually had to pay $11, if I'm not mistaken, I think for 8. So that's a little hefty to me. It's a little hefty, but you know, you need to have, I personally recommend blue crab. I'm not a huge fan of the Alaska snow crab. I know that you'll get more meat, but the iodine, I don't know. It's just something about that salt inside of that snow crab leg. I can never eat more than 2 of them. And with gumbo, I like to enjoy gumbo, so I like blue crab. All right, so it's cooking up nice. I'm just going to keep on stirring this. And you should be able to see the contrast of the brown in this. Another thing that you really want to be conscious of is the actual salt. And the reason why I state that is because we're going to be using the shrimp paste. The shrimp paste has a lot of salt. The crab paste has a lot of salt. And also the sausage. So I typically will not add salt to this until I'm finished cooking. Alright, it's getting there. Yes, guys, keep stirring this. You really, really want to keep a solid eye on this because it can cook and burn relatively quickly. So I'm really keeping an eye on it. All right, let's get in there. Let's get in there. You all see that color? Look at that. Again, you want to keep on ensuring that you are actually stirring this because you do not want this to actually burn. And someone asked me what type of sausage is this. This is actually, it is a Kroger brand sausage. I'll have to tell you the name of it. The brand of it is Ragin' Cajun. It is an andouille sausage. The shrimp that I am using, now, believe it or not, I honestly thought that they would actually have dried shrimp on the Asian aisle within the farmer's market, and they did not. So, where they sell a lot of the spices, I believe it's on the Hispanic food aisle, they have dried shrimp. And I was so happy because I really wanted to incorporate the dried shrimp. But that's the first time that I have gone there and they have not had dried shrimp on the Asian aisle, And I'm not being racist, you guys. I'm just being politically correct. That is how they actually have it categorized inside of the farmer's market. They have an Asian aisle, so they did not have dried shrimp. So, but nonetheless, I mean, we're going to work with what we have, and I think the kind that I have, they're actually bigger than I anticipated, so it's going to work out well. In terms of chopping up the sausage into smaller pieces, no. I like to have my sausage a nice chunk and a nice size because I will be boiling white rice to go along with this. I don't like little minimum pieces of the meat. And this sausage has a robust amount of heat to it as well. So I told you, I like a lot of spice. This is a good brand sausage. It's not a lot of fat. I like to taste the meat, so I did not choose to chop it up any finer than what you actually saw. And yes, someone asked about crab paste. Yes, they have crab paste. It's actually minced crab, and it also has crab meat inside of it. You can actually find the crab paste at any local Asian store or farmer's market. Shrimp paste, they have it on the same aisle as well. So if you go to the aisle where they actually, and this is at a farmer's market again, if you go to the aisle where they actually sell the Asian spices, Asian seasonings, you will see where they actually have the shrimp paste and the crab paste. Again, right now I am making a roux, so you have to be extremely patient because it does take a while, especially the way that I'm making it. It takes a while. You want to constantly stir this. Do not allow the pan to actually settle. That's going to mess up what you're trying to accomplish. All right. And as you all can see right here in the middle, this is where it's starting to buckle, but I am not going to allow that to happen. I am going to continue to stir this up. This pot is extremely hot. Hopefully you all can see the coloring of my roux. It's a dark brown, but I want it a little darker than that. And another reason why you want to actually continue to stir this is because you do not want it to burn. If the flour has an opportunity to buckle, it will. In that taste, you cannot get rid of it. Once it's set in, it's set in. So please watch it. You know, I understand that it's a slow process. It honestly is, but you have to stand over the pot and actually watch it so that it doesn't cook a little too fast. Again, for those of you who have just joined, we are actually making gumbo. And this is a delicious take on a gumbo. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to continue to allow this to cook in. And while I'm doing this, I'm actually chopping up some of my fresh herbs. So if you can see me in the background, I have some scallions that I will be chopping up. And then I also have parsley that I am chopping up as well. Now all of this will actually boil down. So we're not going to use a lot of it, just a little bit. And then I also like to garnish with parsley as well. So with the parsley, you can just chop it up really, really fine as to your liking. I like a lot of fresh herbs. But once you're actually boiling this in and you're cooking this into the gumbo, it literally is going to dissipate itself. I mean, you won't have huge chunks of parsley. I promise you. We're almost finished. So if you are able to multitask, you want to come in every now and again and just check on the flour. You want to ensure that it is not burning at all. And for those of you who are a little curious, yes, this pan is very, very, very hot. It's really hot. All right, so I just chopped up some of my curly parsley. Now I am about to chop up some of my Italian parsley. And for garnishing, I would highly recommend that you garnish with Italian parsley. I think a lot of people typically do anyway. Beautiful. It adds a lot of texture and it gives the bite that you want to the finished product. So I love it. Right. You know my theory, clean as you go. Alright. So we are almost done. The next thing that we are going to do is you're going to see me actually prepare the crab. Again, then please watch out because, as I stated, this pan is hot, extremely, extremely hot, so be careful. And one thing that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention also is that if you were making this on a stovetop, I promise you that it probably would not take this long. The outage in, well, I'm just going to say the power behind a standalone burner is not as strong as a stovetop. Like, for example, if I actually made this, and you all know that my dream is gas. So if I made this on a gas range, you probably could cook this, I want to say, within 12 minutes. Your roux would probably be right. Someone who is a renowned gumbo cooker will probably tell you that even if they had a gas stove, they still would watch the roux very, 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 very closely. And they probably would not actually, speed the process up with cooking the roux. They would probably take the entire 30 minutes to cook it. I knew a guy from Louisiana, and when he would make it, believe it or not, I mean, he had all of the power to cook it faster. He would actually take 30 to 45 minutes just to make the roux alone. So, people from Louisiana are serious about their gumbo. So, I'm going to continue to let this cook, and let it cook down, but very, very, very slow. And you will notice that I cook a lot with wood. I don't necessarily like scraping up pots, and I don't like bits and pieces of metal in my food. So I cook with wood a lot. And this probably, honestly, is going to be the longest process. One other thing that I want to show you all really quickly. So, remember when I told you about the shrimp I had boiling? This is going to be the liquid from the shrimp. The shrimp heads, the dried shrimp. You want to save this. Do not throw this away at all. And I'm just going to show you. You want to keep all of this. You're going to drain this, and this is what you're going to incorporate inside of here to make your gumbo. I promise you it will be delicious. So one thing you have to learn is that we don't waste nothing in this house. Nothing. Everything goes to use. For my down south southern folks, this is typically how you would make a nice brown gravy. Same concept. But for gumbo, it's a little darker. Alright, and in terms of the shells that I actually made for boiling, the shrimps, I want to say the actual, what do you call it? The legs and the head. Get yourself a little bit of Old Bay seasoning. You want to still season it because remember, this will be incorporated inside of your gumbo overall. So, I pretty much just add a little bit of Old Bay seasoning to it, and then I will later strain it and add that liquid to this. I'm telling you, it's going to be really, 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 really good. So. And that's okay. For those of you who said that you're in the process of making your own meal, I totally understand. No worries. You'll also be able to watch it later on Facebook if you have time. And I will be doing a speed process of videos. I'm thinking for the most part now, I'm just going to do one live video on possibly Saturday or Sunday, depending on which one I actually have free time, which day I have free time to do it. But the rest of the videos, they will be shorter, they will be condensed, and they will be cut down to possibly 3 minutes. I was going to do this with this one, but I will be completely honest with you. I think that in terms of making a roux, a lot of people actually have to, it's more so beneficial for them to watch this one live. Alright. And I don't know if you all can see it, but it has some little dark spots where the flour set a little too long. And I'm trying to prevent that because I do not want it to have a burnt taste. All right, you guys, we're almost done. All right, guys, so what I am going to start doing now, I will be actually chopping up my crab. A lot of people don't necessarily care or particularly care for the crab with the eggs in the middle. Oh my God, that to me, that makes the gumbo taste the best. So, like I said, it's just to your own individual preference what it is that you like. But I love them. So you'll take the crab down the middle after you take off the shell, the cover, and you want to cut them directly in the middle, just like this. Straight down the middle. This is what I'm talking about here. Eggs. I don't know if you all can see it. I put all of that inside of my gumbo. You know the saying, we don't waste a thing in this house. Look at that color. So my roux is coming along nice. So, I'm sorry, it's more than that. I believe that I said 8, I think it's 10. 10 crabs came within this pack, so 10 altogether. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily bad, but I know this for a fact. If I were actually in Savannah, Georgia, I could have probably gotten for $20. Oh man, I went there one time and I was able to get like 30 crabs. And they were huge crabs. They were not these little baby crabs, but I mean, that's the price you pay when you actually stay inland. You know, you're going to pay a hefty price to get seafood. Another thing that I was looking for, but I could not find it, was actually crawfish. I think that makes your gumbo taste really, really good as well. All right. So all of my crab is chopped up. almost there, guys. All right. All right, 5 more minutes, you guys, and then I will start incorporating everything into this pot. 5 more minutes. And I'm thinking that we are honestly there. So this will be a 1-pot gumbo. Everything will go in here. My sausage, my crab, my shrimp, and it's going to be a nice flow. Now the first thing that I am going to add in here will be the actual broth from the shrimp. So this is it right here. All right. And when I add this in, I want to add it in slow. You want this to boil, as so. Let it boil down, because it will get thick, trust me. And what I'm not looking for is a too thick, so I'm going to monitor it, and I will steadily add my ingredients. So the first thing that I am going to add to this is going to be my tomatoes. And I'm going to allow this to cook down. You're going to add all of your shrimp broth to this. And I know you guys are probably saying, I don't know if that's going to come out right. Trust me, once this cooks down, it is going to be delicious. I promise you. So if you have a lidded pot, you want to cover it at this point, and you want to allow it to boil down. If you have any type of, and I know at the Asian market, they typically have like, I want to say shrimp cubes, seasoning cubes. You can add that as well. It just depends on your taste. And for the sausage, I am going to add the sausage in next. The last thing that you want to add is going to be your crab, because you do not want your crab to overcook. So I will be adding my crab. I am also going to add my shrimp. And then I will be adding my prawns, but I'll add that later on. I want, for the most part, those tomatoes to actually cook down. Cook all the way down. This is black pepper. This is going to be the sweet peppers and the Vidalia onion. Well, the sweet peppers and also the onion. I'm going to add this in. I'm going to allow that to cook down. It smells so good, you guys. Now I'm going to add in my sausage. Yeah, we're going to put it all in there. And those tomatoes, I promise you, they are going to cook down, all the way down. But you just want to add everything in. Now, after this cooks, I want to say probably for another 5 minutes. This is when you honestly, you're going to taste it for salt. Because with this being in a liquid, it's going to cook a lot of the salt out. See how meaty that is? And we're going to add more water because if you look at it, you can see it's thick. You want to always keep some of that water from the actual shrimp. You don't want to pour it all in at once because remember the okra is going to thicken as well. So it's going to thicken really make it really thick. So I always add my water over time, not all at once. All right, you guys. So what I will do is once this cooks down, and then once I'm ready to actually add the crab to this, I'm going to push this out as a second video. We're going to give this some time to actually cook down. So you guys, I'll be back in just a moment.